written by V. Prophetess Hazlitt. Based on the lovely setting of Rhinebeck, New York, Jazzman is a love story that proves lasting love still exists. Pick up your paperback or Kindle copy today, link in the description box below. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to the show. Today is Friday, October 22nd, 2021, and this is your PTE News Break. I'm your host, Permission to Exist, also known as PTE, and this is the time of week where we just catch up on everything that's been going on. And you guys, I can't believe I did this, but I missed our 1 year anniversary for the news break. I missed our 1 year anniversary. We did our very first one on October 2nd, 2020 was the very first one that we ever did. So I cannot believe I missed the anniversary of the news break. And I can't believe I've kept it up this long. So I know some of you are like, is she ever going to do real content again? Yes, I am. But the reason I keep the news break going is because, as many of you know, it's often hard for me to finish a series. It really is. For example, People of the Lie. We still have one more episode to go. And that's not the first example. Like, it's hard for me to finish a series for some reason. So I just wanted to be able to say that I've successfully stuck to something. No sound? Y'all let me know if you can hear me. I just want to say that I just want to be able to say that I successfully I successfully stuck to something. So, and that's so funny because I'm actually thinking about retiring the news break, you guys. At the start of 2020, I am thinking about pausing it, at least just briefly, so I can. Sorry, I realized I left all my wind tunnels on. Hold on. Okay, now I can stop yelling over my fans. But I might actually retire the news break or just put her on a hiatus at the start of 2020 so I can free my Fridays up again. And I think that might actually help me bring you guys more content. I'm not sure, but I think that would actually help me bring you guys a little bit more content more frequently. So we'll see. So there's that. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Okay. I had someone say they couldn't hear, but it looks like it got resolved. So that's awesome. Welcome, everyone. It's so good to see you guys. So let's start the show. First, I want you guys to know that I have been busy. I have been very, very active on YouTube and on the internet. I have another channel. That channel name is A Deeper PTE. And I'm sure you've heard me mention that before, but you may not have actually known what I was talking about. This is the channel. This is the channel name. And lately, we've really been focusing on, as you can see from the thumbnails, that has been the topic of focus and conversation as of recent. So, if you're in support of those little jabby things, you probably won't like what I have to say, but I highly recommend you hear me out anyway. But that's primarily what we've been talking about over on this channel. And it really is intended for just deeper conversations about topics that really don't match over here. And this channel is monetized. The other one is not. A Deeper PTE is not. And, I'd like to keep Permission to Exist monetized. And some of the things we talk about, like I think even once I become eligible for monetization, I doubt severely I'll make any money off of Deeper PTE because I'm always talking about controversial stuff that gets demonetized over there, which is why I put it over there. So check it out. Big shout out to all of you who check out both. I really appreciate you guys. So that's where I've been, and I've been very active. I think I've been more active on this channel than I've ever been on Permission to Exist because I'm doing like a show every other day on A Deeper PTE. So that's where I've been. I haven't been doing nothing. I've been over there. So do check it out, okay? So let's go ahead and start the actual show. Welcome, everyone, as you fill into the room. Oh, awesome. The chat says you've changed the way that I look at what we call haircuts. So haircuts is code. And I'm so happy to hear that. That makes me feel really good, actually. And if you ever feel like telling me how, email me permission2exist@gmail.com. I'd love to know, just out of pure curiosity. Okay. So I'm sure you guys have all heard about this. And it's one of those stories. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's a scientific phenomenon or what, but my brain has a really tough time believing certain things at first. So when I first heard about this thing, I was like, what? Say what now? And that might largely come from the fact that I check a lot of my news when I first wake up. So I just think all my neurons are not connected initially when I first wake up. So I just didn't, I just found it so hard to believe. And then as more details started coming out, I was like, oh my God. So what took place was Alec Baldwin discharged a prop gun that killed a cinematographer named, I believe it's pronounced Helena Hutchins, and injured a director on the set of the movie Rush. The actor has been questioned and released. Okay. So, yeah, I had never heard that Brandon Lee story. So the chat says Brandon Lee flashbacks. I had never heard of Brandon Lee before, but I heard about it after looking into this story. And apparently, prop guns are not like how you, or at least how let me stop putting this on y'all. When I hear the word prop gun, I'm thinking of something that looks like a toy. You know what I mean? Like something you would clearly know is not real. But apparently, prop guns not only look real, sometimes they are real, but they're just filled with blanks. So I didn't know that. That would really freak me out if I was an actor or an actress or anyone on the set, really. And I think I might have even pulled an article that shows a picture of prop guns. So it's just really disturbing. Let's read some of the details. The Santa Fe Sheriff's Department confirmed Thursday night that Alec Baldwin discharged the prop gun that killed Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins and injured director Joel Souza on the set of the Western feature film On Location in New Mexico. Hutchins, 42, died not long after being transported to a hospital in Albuquerque, New Mexico this afternoon. Souza, 48, remains in a local hospital. His condition is unknown. Mr. Baldwin was questioned by investigators and released. No arrests or charges have been filed. The Santa Fe Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to the Bonanza Creek Ranch movie set of the Western Rust on October 21st, 2021, when a 911 caller reported a shooting on the set. The sheriff's office confirms that 2 individuals were shot on the set, and they were shot when a prop firearm was discharged by Alec Baldwin. Ms. Hutchins was transported via helicopter to the University of New Mexico Hospital, where she was pronounced dead by medical personnel, and Mr. Souza was being transported by ambulance to Christus St. Vincent Regional Medical Center, where he's undergoing treatment for his injuries. So whatever this was, however this happened, it managed to hit 2 people, not just one. So I don't know if it hit one person and went through to the other. I don't know if it hit one and ricocheted to the other. This is crazy. It says this investigation remains open and active. No charges have been filed in regard to this incident, and witnesses continue to be interviewed by detectives. Okay. So there was that. Okay. And then it says production has been halted on the movie for the time being. It says traditionally the prop master or armorer is responsible for firearms and firearm safety on a set such as Rust, But we're going to talk about this in a second, y'all, because I found an article that is behind a paywall, but I have access to it. So we're going to talk about what they're saying was going on this set leading up to this. Like, this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay. So, of course, everyone is devastated and shocked. And Alec has released a statement. Let me see if this is a video of the prop guns. You know what? Let me not show news people stuff because they're so funny acting. It probably won't play anyway. So this is the statement from Alec Baldwin. There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Helena Hutchins, a wife, mother, and deeply admired colleague of ours. Baldwin tweeted on Friday, I'm fully cooperating with the police investigation to address how this tragedy occurred, and I am in touch with her husband, offering my support to him and his family. My heart is broken for her husband, their son, and all who knew and loved Helena. Okay. It's probably the same. Bella, I wonder if we have the same article pulled up. So did you post it in the chat though? I don't see anything unless it's higher up. So Alec has come out and made a statement. Don't know if there's going to be charges just yet, but there might be, y'all. And here they are. Here's the picture of those prop guns that I was telling you about. Where is the picture? I can't stand you guys. Y'all make life so difficult. I just wanted a bigger shot of this. Oh, well. You can see it here on your screen. These are prop guns. So do those look fake to you? Okay. I wouldn't want to be nowhere near these things. Okay. Nowhere. I feel like I would just fall over just at the sound and the sight of the fake whatever going off. I feel like I would just fall out. Okay. Now, I wonder, Bella, I wonder if you and I are talking about the same article. So there's an article in LA Times that is behind a paywall, and I'm getting ready to show it to you now. So let me minimize that a bit. Let me drag this over and make that big. So this came out this afternoon, okay? And it says the Rust crew describes on-set gun safety issues and misfires days before the fatal shooting, okay? So I don't know how much this is going to make it out into the mainstream media because, again, this article is behind a paywall. So it says at least one of the camera operators complained last weekend to production managers about gun safety on the set. Published October 22nd. Same one? Wow. 2021. Hours before actor Alec Baldwin fatally shot a cinematographer on the New Mexico set of Rust with a prop gun, a half dozen camera crew workers walked off the set to protest working conditions. The camera operators and their assistants were frustrated by the conditions surrounding the low-budget film, including complaints about long hours, long commutes, and collecting their paychecks, according to 3 people familiar with the matter who were not authorized to comment. Safety protocols standard in the industry, including gun inspections, were not strictly followed on the Rust set near Santa Fe, the sources said. They said at least one of the camera operators complained last weekend to a production manager about gun safety on the set. 3 crew members who were present at the Bonanza Creek Ranch set that day said they were particularly concerned about 2 accidental prop gun discharges on Saturday. Baldwin's stunt double accidentally fired 2 rounds Saturday after being told that the gun was cold, lingo for a weapon that doesn't have any ammunition, including blanks. 2 crew members who witnessed the episode told the LA Times. There should have been an investigation into what happened, said the crew member. There were no safety meetings. There was no assurance that it would not happen again. All they wanted to do was rush, rush, rush. Pause. I call this the American way. This is the American way. No investigation, no safety meetings, no assurances that it won't happen again. Rush, rush, rush. This is quite simply the American way, but I digress. A colleague was so alarmed by the prop gun misfires, he sent a text message to the unit production manager. We've now had 3 accidental discharges. This is super unsafe, according to a copy of the message reviewed by the Times. And then here we go with this standard statement here. The safety of our cast and crew is the top priority of Russ Productions and everyone associated with the company. Like, can y'all just stop saying that? Can y'all find a different word or a different way to phrase this sentiment? Because you've used it so many times, it's lost its value. We don't believe you. So anytime you hear a company say that safety is their top priority, please don't believe them, because the fact that they have to say that means that something unsafe has happened. Though we were not made aware of any official complaints concerning weapon or prop safety on set, we will be conducting an internal review of our procedures while production is shut down. We will continue to cooperate with the Santa Fe authorities in their investigation and offer mental health services to the cast and crew during this tragic time. The tragedy occurred Thursday afternoon during filming of a gunfight that began in a church that is part of the old western town at the ranch. Baldwin's character was supposed to back out of the church, according to production notes obtained by the Times. It was the 12th day of a 21-day shoot. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins was huddled around a monitor, lining up her next camera shot when she was accidentally killed by Baldwin. The actor was preparing to film a scene in which he pulls a gun out of a holster, according to a source close to the production. Crew members had already shouted "Cold gun" on the New Mexico set. The filmmaking team was lining up its camera angles and had yet to retreat to the video village, an on-set area where the crew gathers to watch filming from a distance via a monitor. Instead, the B camera operator was on a dolly with a monitor, checking out the potential shots. Hutchins was also looking at the monitor from over the operator's shoulder. Oh, that must be how it happened. Okay. As was the movie's director, Joel Souza, who was crouching just behind her. So they were basically lined up with each other. Excuse me. He was right behind her. Baldwin removed the gun from its holster once without incident, but the second time he repeated the action, ammunition flew toward the trio around the monitor. The projectile whizzed by the camera operator, but penetrated Hutchins near her shoulder, then continued through to Souza. Hutchins immediately fell to the ground as crew members applied pressure to her wound in an attempt to stop the bleeding. Earlier in the day, the camera crew showed up for work as expected at 6:30 a.m. and began gathering up their gear and personal belongings to leave, one knowledgeable crew member told the Times. Labor trouble had been brewing for days on the set. I hate the way they write. On the dusty set at the Bonanza Creek Ranch. Stop trying to be cute. Labor trouble had been brewing for days on set, okay? Shooting began October 6th, and members of the low-budget film said that they had been promised the production would pay for their hotel rooms in Santa Fe. But after filming began, the crews were told they instead would be required to make the 50-mile drive from Albuquerque each day rather than stay overnight in nearby Santa Fe. That rankled crew members who worried that they might have an accident after spending 12 to 13 hours on the set. Hutchins had been advocating for safer conditions for her team, said one crew member who was on the set and was tearful when the camera crew left. She said, "I feel like I'm losing my best friends." As the camera crew spent about an hour assembling their gear, several non-union crew members showed up to replace them. One of the producers ordered the union members to leave the set and threatened to call security to remove them if they didn't leave voluntarily. Corners were being cut, and they brought in non-union people so they could continue shooting. The shooting occurred about 6 hours after the Union camera crew left. Y'all, so there was like drama on the set, like serious drama on the set before all this happened, okay? And then let's see here. No charges have been filed. Baldwin's fully cooperating. We just read his statement. Production's been halted. Okay. And let's see here. Ooh, it says in an email to its members, Local 44 of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees said the shot that killed Hutchins and injured Sousa on Thursday was a live single round, meaning a real bullet. Now, if there are any ballistics experts or anyone who's quite knowledgeable about ballistics in the chat, please correct me. But if I'm not mistaken, a live single round means a real bullet, correct? Let me just see if there's anything else here. Okay. So this evolved into something really, really serious, like real quick. Like at first it just seemed like, well, as far as we can tell, it is an accident, but it appears that it may be an accident that occurred as a result of all these labor issues. So, all the union workers left, they're bringing in non-union people, logistics. Y'all know how I feel about that. Then they were already having drama regarding the working conditions. People were already pissed off because their hotel rooms weren't being paid for, and they were working 12 and 13 hours a day. So it's not like everything was happy-go-lucky on the set and then suddenly took this horrible turn for the worse. It sounds like there were a lot of different things that led up to this accident. Let's see here. It says, why was a live round even on the set? Right. And then it says, I thought a round was several bullets until the gun is empty. I think a round is one. But I could be wrong. Like, someone please correct me. So apparently there was another actor in the past. I'm not sure when, but his name was Brandon Lee, correct? Is that what y'all told me? Brandon Lee? I think that was his name. And he put a prop gun up to his head and pulled the trigger and accidentally killed himself on the set of a movie. Because what I read earlier was that it doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't even matter if it's not a live round, if it comes out fast enough and hard enough. But I thought prop bullets weren't supposed to fire because there's no gunpowder in them. The fake one, like they literally sell, I think they're called caps or something like that. And they're not supposed to fire because there's no gunpowder in them. So I don't know what's going on, y'all. It actually sounds like people are out here playing with real guns and just, I guess using a certain set of rules when they're playing with the real guns, because probably dealing with a fake gun probably takes too long. It probably requires a little bit more acting. It probably requires a lot more editing, directing. When you're dealing with the fake guns, it's probably easier, right? Because that's the American way. It's probably easier to just use real guns and be careful, right? So this is very, very strange. Yeah, okay, so they're not supposed to have any gunpowder. So why was there a live round in that why was there a live round in the prop gun? Why does the prop gun even work? Like, why does it even work? I think that's the most shocking part to me. The fact that the prop gun actually works. So I think we have a lot to learn. Let me see if this video ever played. Nope, it never played. I didn't think it would, but this would have been interesting to watch. It says, expert says the movie set shooting went wrong in 3 ways. Dang, I kind of want to see this a little bit. Let me see if I can pull this up on YouTube really quick. Welcome, everybody. I'm just going to take my chances with it because I'm recording anyway. So, expert says the prop gun shooting went wrong in 3 ways. Let's see if I can find that. I'm sure it's out here somewhere, but I can't find it. Let's see here. What is this? CNN Entertainment. Let me see if I can just go to their channel real quick. CNN Entertainment. Oh, forget it. Just forget it. All right. So listen, I think this serves as a valuable lesson to actually, I'm sorry. Y'all know how I am. It's like I get I just I really, really, really maybe I can get the audio going on my phone because I don't know why it won't play on my computer, but it might play on my phone. Let me see. CNN. Man. Oh well. Oh well. I'll find the video and watch it later. I think this is a great reminder for everybody. Please don't play with guns, fake guns, real guns. Don't ever point a gun at anything that you don't intend to shoot. Okay? If you don't know how to handle guns, go take a class, honey. Go take a course. Insist that anyone around you handles guns properly and safely. Don't let people play with guns around you. Don't let people clean their guns around you, load their guns around you. Don't let them do any of that stuff. All right. And even if you're not a gun owner, I think it would be a good idea for you to take a course anyway, even if it's just like an online course, and just become educated. You know what I mean? Because what if you happen upon a gun one day and you don't know what to do? You don't know what to do with it. Like you don't even know how to pick it up. You know what I mean? So I think it would serve us all well to educate ourselves, even if you're not a gun owner yourself, even if you're not allowed to own one. Some of you live in cities, states, or countries where you're not even allowed to own a gun. I still think even you need to know. You need to know as well. Okay. So this is a very tragic accident. I hate that it happened. I'm sure he feels terrible, but it'll be very interesting to see if he actually gets charges pressed on him. I doubt it though, right? He might get a wrongful death lawsuit for sure. But if anyone gets charges pressed, it'll be whoever was supposed to be managing those things. Okay. So, in high profile passing away news, of course, you all know that Colin Powell passed away this week. Former Secretary of State dies at 84. We did cover this on my other channel, but I will cover it here as well. For the sake of documentation, Colin Powell, who served as Secretary of State during the presidency of George W. Bush and led the first Gulf War as a chairman of the Joint Chiefs, has died at age 84 of complications from COVID-19, his family confirmed. Okay. Powell was the first Black person to serve in both of those senior posts. The family said that he was fully vaccinated. His longtime aide, Peggy Cifrino, confirmed to NPR that he had been treated in recent years for multiple myeloma, a blood cancer that can suppress the body's immune system, and that he also had Parkinson's disease. Powell had also been treated for prostate cancer in 2003. We want to thank the medical staff at Walter Reed National Medical Center for their caring treatment, the family said in a Facebook post. We've lost a remarkable and loving husband, father, grandfather, and a great American, okay? And his death and his vaccination status has sparked quite a bit of debate regarding the two and their relation or non-relation. I did talk about that on my other channel if you're interested in those thoughts. But other than that, rest in peace, Colin Powell. And that takes care of that. Let's move on to the next story. So, Robert Durst made a grand appearance on our last news break because he got convicted for killing his best friend who had helped him cover up the disappearance of his wife. And now it appears that Robert is going to will himself to die. Okay? because he has COVID-19 and is on a ventilator. Okay. So, Robert Durst, the real estate heir who was sentenced to life in prison for murder on Thursday, is very sick with COVID-19 and has been placed on a ventilator. I was very concerned about his condition Thursday in court. He was having difficulty breathing and speaking and was very weak. Attorney Dick DeGuerin wrote in an email noting that he was getting tested for the disease as a precaution. Durst, 78, slumped down in his wheelchair and appeared to have difficulty communicating in the courtroom, speaking in a hoarse voice. He had been convicted in September for the execution-style killing of his friend Susan Berman in 2000. By the way, they never found his wife. Never. Prosecutors allege that Durst feared Berman would give up information about the mysterious 1982 disappearance of his first wife, Kathleen McCormick, who is presumed dead. They never found this woman. Never. While he was once the heir apparent to the Durst family's New York real estate business, the family owns some of Manhattan's most prestigious property. Durst's volatile personality proved unsuitable. His younger brother, Douglas Durst, took over the business instead, okay? So it appears that he not only takes the life of others, but that he can quite simply just will himself to die, okay? So he's very sick, and he probably will check up out of here probably before the weekend is out. Not wishing death on anyone, but look at this guy. He don't look good. And now he has COVID and he's on a ventilator. It's like he said, oh no, I'm not doing a life sentence. Not doing a life sentence. Not doing it. So, what a mess. What a mess. And it just goes to show that you can have money, power, property, influence, but if you are unwell, you are just quite simply unwell. And a lot of rich people are unwell because, like I've told you before, their money has already solved every problem that money can solve. Every problem money can be used to solve, money has solved. So all that's left are the irresolvable issues, basically. Those issues that cannot be resolved is all that's left. And I think that's why they're so crazy. I really do. Because they're dealing with issues that they can't use their money to fix, basically. So that's got to be rough. The rest of us are dealing both with issues that money can't fix, but a lot of issues that money can fix. So that kind of gives us hope from day to day, because we know that as soon as we get X number of money or X amount of money, we can fix that issue. And then once we fix that issue, we move on to the next issue to fix with money. So some of us have a lifetime worth of things that can be fixed by money, meaning we'll be very occupied for the rest of our lives. But once you've fixed all your money problems, honey, all that's left is the psychological, the intangible. You understand? Things like that. You know what I mean? Or health issues that the doctors can't fix, no matter how much money you throw at it. Look at Steve Jobs is no longer with us. Steve Jobs, right? Yeah. Steve Jobs is no longer with us. Steve Jobs was one of the richest men in the world. They couldn't do anything for him. Anything. So that's just a theory, though. That's just my theory on why they get like this. So what an undignified conclusion to a life. All right. Now, wow, all our stories are really grim so far. Hopefully people start living here shortly. I think after this story, everyone lives. Yes. Looking ahead, it looks like, yeah, okay. Everyone lives after this story, okay? But I just have to update you guys on these things. So, investigators finally release the cause of death for a family who mysteriously died hiking near Yosemite. So remember the family of, you could say 4 really, if you include the dog. And I do include pets as part of the family. But it was the mother, the father, the baby, and the dog who mysteriously passed away on a trail out in California. and no one knew or could figure out what happened to them. And there were all kinds of theories going around. Some people thought it was like toxic algae from a nearby lake or swamp or something. Some people theorized that they had been struck by lightning, saying that lightning doesn't always leave burn marks on you. Um, they had already ruled out homicide because there was no indication of any physical trauma on any of them. So it was really, truly a mystery for a while. But they've come out with an explanation that personally, I'm not buying. But I can't fly out to California and conduct my own independent research and interview people and come to my own conclusion. So I just kind of have to accept this for now. But I'm not buying it, y'all. So it says the mystery behind the deaths of a couple, their baby daughter and the family dog, who were found on a hiking trail near Yosemite National Park in August, has come to an end. The cause of death for Jonathan Garish, Ellen Chung, and their 1-year-old daughter, Michu, was hypothermia with possible dehydration due to environmental exposure. This is a very tragic incident, tragic situation, and has been very unique from the onset, Breeze said. The cause of death for the family dog, Oski, is still undetermined, according to the sheriff, but they also suspect heat-related issues. The hypothermia deaths are the first Breeze has ever seen in his 20 years in Mariposa County. Search and rescue workers found the family August 17th in a remote area of the Sierra National Forest near the South Fork of the Merkhead River. The trail has several steep inclines, and the couple hiked approximately 6.1 miles in temperatures ranging from the mid 70s to around 108 degrees. The trail had little to no shade. Now, I'm not trying to be insensitive or mean or rude or anything, but why would you take your baby out there? Why would you take your baby out in the middle of the wilderness hiking? Like, I'm thinking like wild animals. I'm thinking like, what if we get turned around? Like, what if we have to take off running real quick? So we got this plan, but what if we all of a sudden have to take off running and we get lost and we got our baby out here with us? Again, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be cold. This is beyond a tragedy. It really is. But y'all got to stop doing this kind of stuff. Like, stop taking your infants out into your foolishness. If you want to go hike in the wilderness for 6 miles, go do that. But let your baby stay home with the nanny. Okay? I thought the same thing. The chat says I thought hypothermia was exposure to cold, but I guess there's a heat one as well. Let me look that up. And again, y'all, I'm not trying to be ugly. Hyperthermia. Because this one is hyperthermia. Oh, this one is heat related. So hypo is cold, hyper is heat. Hyperthermia refers to a group of heat related conditions characterized by an abnormally high body temperature. It is an abnormally high body temperature caused by a failure of the heat regulating mechanisms of the body to deal with the heat coming from the environment. Okay? I just don't get why you would take your baby out there like that. But again, no judgment. I know a lot of families are very active with their babies and like they like to get their babies into that kind of stuff very young. So again, no judgment. Just because I wouldn't do it doesn't mean you can't or shouldn't, but really think twice though. You know what I mean? A little 1 mile hike is one thing, but 6 miles, y'all, 6 miles is kind of far. And then you're out in the middle of the wilderness. Anyway, Breeze noted that an empty 85-ounce water bladder was found with the couple and no other water containers were present. I wonder if maybe it's possible that that water bladder, let me see what that looks like. I've never seen a water bladder. Water bladder. What if the water bladder had like bacteria or mold in it or something, you guys? Like if it was one that they had used before and just didn't clean it out properly, maybe? And then if they gave the baby, the dog, and themselves water from this water bladder that maybe was contaminated with E. coli or salmonella or something like that, it says that they had a water bladder, but it said it was empty. No, it's okay. They sound alike. The chat says, oh, sorry, I thought I heard hypothermia. They do sound alike. Hyper, they sound alike. And honestly, I thought they were the same until I just looked it up. So I didn't know there was two. So we learned, see, we learn things in the news break together. So they had an empty 85-ounce water bladder. And I wonder if that thing was contaminated, because that would explain why they all died. Although you're not supposed to give water to a baby, are you? You're not supposed to give babies water, right? Let's see here. It says the question of why can never be answered and will remain with us, relatives of Chung and Garish said in a prepared statement, describing the pain of losing a loved one multiplied by 4 as indescribable. Okay. So this is my theorist coming out. But Garish, who I believe was the man, worked for Google and had recently started a job at Snapchat. Okay. So very unfortunate, very sad, very tragic. I don't know why it just doesn't sit right with me, man. I don't know, because I feel like, don't y'all do that all the time out in California? Don't y'all go hiking out in the wilderness all the time out there? And I know that heat exposure, heat exhaustion is a real thing. You know, they warn about it every year. But I don't know. It's just weird. And I think the weirdest part to me is that they all died clearly at the same time. Clearly. Maybe that's what's bothering me so much. Because it's one thing if, to me, if this were real, it would look something like this. Well, not that it's not real. To me, this is what makes more sense. First, you find the man who succumbed to the heat. Then she didn't want to just stay there with him. She wanted to go get him help, of course. So then she walks off with the baby and the dog. But then she succumbs. Oh, yeah. And they found him sitting straight up. I forgot about that. They found him sitting straight up. Let's not skate over that detail. But then you would find her and the baby a little bit further up ahead. And then you would find the dog maybe like a mile or two up the street, because most animals are not just going to sit there and die, you guys. Most animals are not going to just sit there and die. They'll stay by your dead body for a little while, and then they'll be like, okay, I got to get out of here, man. They're clearly not with me anymore. So, and I know some animals are so loyal that yes, they would sit there and die. But I think that hunger and I think animal instincts takes over eventually. And eventually an animal seeks out water and seeks out food. So in my opinion, they never should have even found the dog. Like, the dog should have been nowhere to be found, because the dog should have walked off when its owners were no longer alive, looking for food and water. Do you see what I mean? Like, animals don't really go like that, you guys. They really don't. I see some very interesting theories in the chat. Very interesting. So I don't know. This one is weird. It feels like they should have died kind of spread out, because I just feel like, why did you all die at once? Like, you all literally died at the same time. You're not all going to dehydrate at the same time. You're not. I'm sorry. Like, if anything, the baby would go first. Then I don't know if the man or the woman would go first. The man might go first or second, because he has less body fat and like retained water. So the man will probably go second. Then the woman would go, but she would take her baby with her, even if the baby was not with us anymore. A woman's going to take her baby with her, period. So she would keep walking to try to get help. Then she'd go down. Then I think the baby, oh no, the baby's already gone. Then the dog. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, like an instant death. That's weird. Like they didn't see it coming at all. And it just boom, took them out like that. And they're saying that heat exposure and dehydration did it. So I don't know. I think it's kind of strange. I think maybe people should stay out of that area. But very, very sad. But if there is a silver lining, at least none of them ever had to live a single day without the other. So if there is a silver lining at all to be found, at least they never had to live a single day without the other one. So there you go. So, but you Californians, keep an eye on that for me. Keep your ear to the ground on that one. Okay? Yeah, it is very, very creepy. The chat says something is up with the sun. I tanned for 45 minutes and was the color of Kool-Aid. Which Kool-Aid, though? Red Kool-Aid, purple Kool-Aid, blue Kool-Aid. Talk to me. All right. Everyone lives from this point on, you guys. Sorry to have such a grim opening, but I mean, it is what's happening. So the White House has been making plans for you and your children. The White House details plans to vaccinate 28 million children ages 5 to 11. Published October 20th. Oh, wow. Y'all are really aggressive with this video. Look at this. I keep closing it and it just keeps. See, this is rape. I consider that to be rape. This is rape. I do not consent. I don't want to watch your video, but you're just going to make me, huh? Okay. Children ages 5 to 11 will soon be able to get a touch haircut. Wait, sorry. I'm on PTE. Children ages 5 to 11 will soon be able. Oh, you were the color of red Kool-Aid. Oof. Oof. We need to get you some solar blockers. Children ages 5 to 11 will soon be able to get a COVID-19 shot at their pediatrician's office, local pharmacy, and potentially even their school, the White House said on Wednesday, as it detailed plans for the expected authorization of the Pfizer shot for elementary school youngsters in a matter of weeks. Wow. Wow. Federal regulators will meet. Okay. All right. Stay there. And I'm just pause you. Wow. You can't even pause it. Y'all are rapists. I see why y'all have no problem trying to force people to do things. Federal regulators will meet over the next 2 weeks to weigh the safety and effectiveness of giving low-dose shots to the roughly 28 million children in that age group. Within hours of formal approval, which is expected after the Food and Drug Administration signs off and a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advisory panel meets on November 2nd and 3rd, millions of doses will be going out to providers across the country, along with the smaller needles needed for injecting young children. Within days of that, the vaccine will be ready to go into arms on a wide scale. You see, when you all speak this way, you're not putting it into my arm, you're putting it into my body. With all due respect, you're putting it in my body. The appropriate way to say that would be within days of that, the vaccine will be ready to go into bodies on a wide scale. I hate it when they say in arms, we need shots in arms, shots in arms, shots in, like it's just so gross. Like it really honestly gives me the heebie-jeebies. It really does. Shots in arms, we need shots in arms. No, you're putting it in my body. We are completing the operational planning to ensure vaccinations for kids ages 5 to 11 are available, easy, and convenient. That's how they started with the adults. Available, easy, convenient, and optional is how they started with you guys. Let's see. We're going to be ready pending the FDA and their decision. So understand that they already have these things drafted up, basically. You think they're going to let these people tell them no? No. They're already ready to go, ready to be rolled out. And I find it quite amazing that there's no supply chain issues in regard to the vaccine, but there's supply chain issues in regard to everything else, like food, gasoline, basic supplies. You know what I'm saying? The Pfizer vaccine requires 2 doses 3 weeks apart and a 2 week wait for full protection to kick in, meaning the first youngsters in line will be fully covered by Christmas. Some parents can hardly wait. I'm just going to save the rest of my thoughts about this for my other channel, A Deeper PTE. All right. So I think I already talked about this a little bit, but we'll talk more about this particular article the next time I do a show over there. But the White House has Christmas plans for you and your children. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. The chat says no gifts on shelves, just haircuts available for all 5 to 11. Yep. That's what you're getting for Christmas, okay? Now, what I think a good homework assignment for you guys would be is to watch how it evolves from sweet, cute, fluffy, and friendly with lollipops, cookies, stickers, probably a mascot of some kind, advertising, an ad campaign, celebrity endorsement. That girl who's grown but still likes to present like a child, JoJo Siwa, is that her name? She'll probably get in on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. It'll all start off so sweet and fluffy. And by the end of this year, it will be like, bring your kid in or you're going to jail. All right, let's move on. Let's see what we got. So the CDC says you need to throw your onions in the trash can. Let's find out why. I actually did not pre-read this, so I don't know. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. It says, when we cook with onions, we go in knowing there's a decent chance that chopping them raw may cause us to shed some tears, but we generally don't expect unending diarrhea, a fever, and stomach cramps. Unfortunately, hundreds of people across the country have been experiencing digestive distress thanks to salmonella infections they got from eating onions. According to the CDC, this is not a recall, but rather a food safety alert. Here's what you should know about the problematic onions, including how to tell if you should throw out the ones you already have. The most recent data available on the outbreak is from October 18th, 2021, when there were 652 reported cases of salmonella infection across 37 states, including 129 hospitalizations, but fortunately no fatalities, resulting from the ongoing salmonella outbreak linked to onions. However, the CDC notes that the actual number is likely much higher, as those with mild cases may not report their illnesses, and it usually takes 3 to 4 weeks to determine if a sick person's illness can be connected with an outbreak. Where do the onions come from? They're actively working to find out the origin, but they include fresh, whole red, white, and yellow onions imported from Chihuahua, Mexico, and distributed by ProSource Inc. According to ProSource Inc., they were last imported to the United States on August 27, 2021, but they can last in storage for up to 3 months. How to tell if they're safe to eat? First, check to see if they have a sticker on them. And if it indicates that they were imported from Chihuahua, Mexico, and distributed by ProSource, throw them away. And then it says, if your onions don't have a sticker on them or come in packaging that tells you where they came from, the CDC says to throw them out anyway. No onions for you, okay? And then wash any surfaces or countertops that any contaminated onions may have touched. Okay. Now, you know what's interesting about onions is, and I don't know if this is true, I've only heard this, and it might just be an old wives' tale. Oh, wow. The chat just said it. The chat says it right there. Daniel said it. They absorb bacteria. I heard that if you're sick, you're supposed to cut an onion in half. The chat says right, because the CDC doesn't have anything else to focus on. They're focused on taking salt out of food, getting you to throw away your onions. But anyway, I heard that if you're sick, like with a cold or flu or whatever, you're supposed to cut an onion in half and just put it in one corner of the room. And apparently, that onion is supposed to absorb all viruses, bacteria, all that in the room. That's what they said. So I don't know if that's true. I think I've even heard like you're supposed to put onions on the bottoms of your feet when you're sick. That could be another old wives' remedy. Again, this is not medical advice. It's not a medical channel, and I'm not a medical doctor or a doctor of any kind. But look it up, though, if you're interested. That's what I heard, though. And a cut onion in the room or a cut onion on your feet. So then it does become kind of disturbing, the thought that perhaps onions just absorb whatever is nearby them, including salmonella. So y'all just be careful, okay? Be careful with your onions. Wow, it says, yes, you can wrap your feet with them. Wow, that's so interesting. That's interesting. All right. In you guys putting up such a huge fuss, you made them back down news. The Biden admin backs down on tracking bank accounts with over $600 annual transactions. So, as many of you found out or heard, and I would need to look up the exact precise language, but the Biden administration essentially had proposed tracking accounts that had over $600 in annual transactions. And it appears that the backlash was so great that they were like, okay, guys, just kidding. We won't do that. Says the Biden administration on Tuesday backed down on a controversial proposal to direct the IRS to collect additional data on every bank account that sees more than $600 in annual transactions after widespread criticism from Republican lawmakers and banking industry representatives who said the tax enforcement strategy represented a breach of privacy by the federal government. It wasn't just Republicans kicking and screaming about that. It was everybody. So clearly this publication has a little bias, but that's okay. Instead, the administration and Senate Democrats are proposing to they're not getting rid of it, proposing to raise the threshold to accounts with more than $10,000 in annual transactions and any income received through a paycheck from which federal taxes are automatically deducted will not be subject to the reporting. Recipients of federal benefits like unemployment and Social Security would also be exempt. So basically, it sounds like we're going to go back to cash. Sounds like cash is going to become king again. Sounds like people will be probably using a lot more money orders and going back to pen and paper accounting and things of that nature. Cash is going to make a comeback. All right. Congratulations, cash. Just when they tried to stamp you out, looks like there's going to be an uptick in cash and money in mattresses. Let's see. The IRS would collect the total sum of deposits and withdrawals from bank accounts with more than $10,000 in non-payroll income. These people are so invasive. I can't wait for y'all to be voted out. They just want to see what all you got going on. So what they're basically saying is we won't look at your payroll and stuff, but anything that comes into your account that's not payroll, they want information on it. Well, it says information on individual transactions would not be collected. Sure. Deposits and withdrawals are what they're looking at. So let's say your grandmother sends you $50 a week for just because she loves you or something, and you're like, Grandma, please stop. You don't have to do this. And I love you, baby. I love you. I just want to help out. So your little sweet grandmother sends you $50 a week on a check that she wrote. and you just go deposit it in your bank account. Basically, the federal government will be looking at that little check that your grandmother sent you and I guess trying to tax it. I guess, I don't know what their purpose of this is. Or let's say you have amazing friends who love to give gifts in cash. Like that, let's say that those are the types of friends you have. So birthdays, your friends are giving you cash gifts and you just decide to go put your cash from your friends in the bank. Let's say your friends give you $2,500 in cash and you got some good friends. Do you need a new friend? Um, and you go deposit that because it's non-payroll income. They're including that in that $10,000 annually. So like what is wrong with these people? What's wrong with them, y'all? What did we do? Like, has this been the plan all along, or literally have their minds simply been taken over in some meaningful way? For example, there is a type of, I believe it's a fungus that takes over the minds of ants. It's really, really gross. Don't go looking it up if you're very squeamish or if you get queasy real easy or you don't like gross, disgusting things. Don't go look it up. Just know that there is a fungus that can take over ants and it basically makes the ants do what it wants it to do. It's really, really weird. And that's kind of what makes it even more disgusting. So I bring that up to say, have you all been taken over by a fungus or something? Like, you are so lame, but it's going to be great to see cash make a comeback. People accepting cash payments, paying in cash, and basically just going under your radar. We know y'all are trying to eliminate cash and go to digital currency. We're very, very aware of that. But little things like this are just going to force either cash or you're going to force a different type of economy. One that I've talked about before, which is basically a service or trade based economy. So if you cut hair and I cook very well, can I bring my son for a haircut and I'll give you a plate of dinner tonight? And that's our exchange. Like the haircut's worth about 20 bucks. I give you about $20 worth of food. Boom. I just paid you in food, basically. So I pay you in food. Another customer might pay you in car repairs. You see what I'm saying? So you're either going to force a cash economy or you're just going to force us to start saying, hey, I have this skill that I can trade with you for your skill. You want to just trade? Cool. You see what I mean? Absolutely. The chat says they're afraid of creative people getting independent from this exploitative system. Yeah, y'all were too healthy, too happy, too free. You were starting to figure out how to survive outside of the little box that was created for you, out here starting your own little businesses, out here using the gig economy to your benefit. You know what I mean? Thumbing your nose up at their at their jobs and literally surviving outside of their little matrix and they can't stand it. So they're trying to find a way to web you back into that one way or another. So I really, yeah, the barter and trade economy. Thank you. I really look forward to the barter and trade economy rising back up. Hopefully someone will develop an app called like iTrade or something where you basically just offer up what it is you're selling, basically. And I think it would get rid of a lot of useless products and services because if you sell something useless in a barter and trade economy, you're going to go hungry real quick. You better figure out how to do something useful. You cut my grass? Okay, I'll wash your clothes for you and press them. Well, no, that's not an equal trade, but you get my point. I'll iron a couple of shirts for you if you cut my grass or something. I don't know. You guys get my point though. So, oh no, the chat says Democrats will never be seen in the same light. Never, never. Like literally, the transformation. I've really talked through the transformation on my other channel more, but the transformation I've undergone is insane. Like it's crazy. Like I'm just looking back over everything. Like, have we been wrong this whole time, or did we only just recently become wrong? Like, were we wrong during the Obama era I was too young during Clinton, so I really have nothing to add to the Clinton era because I was a child. But were we wrong then? Like, what else have we gotten wrong? Is what I'm saying. But I know one thing, you'll never win another election. I know that much. I plan on making sure of that. I plan on actively advocating against you, but I actually don't think I have to do anything. I think you all hung yourselves with all this foolishness, mandated vaccines. Now you want to monitor people's private bank accounts. You know what I mean? Trying to decide who gets to eat, who gets to live life. Like the people who've been screaming and crying about discrimination for years, all these years, are now the kings and queens of discrimination. Like, it's insane. Like, I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, they did all of this to spite the Republicans and ended up spiting their own constituent base. How stupid could you be? How stupid could you be? Like we're going to do that because their thinking was if we mandate vaccines, all the Democrats will get vaccinated, but the Republicans won't. Then we can force the Republicans out of our businesses, out of our workplaces. We can force them out of our hospitals. They literally did all of this to spite the Republicans, but you ended up spiting your own constituent base too, you idiot. It's the equivalent of punishing the whole class because one person is acting out. And it's a great way to get your whole class to turn on you. Like, how dare you punish me? It wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? But because you're so uncreative and because you lack creativity to such an extent, you just punish everybody because you don't know what else to do. Yeah, neither one of them can be trusted. But what I'm just saying is the one that I had at least a little bit of faith in, that faith is gone now. So I guess I'm an independent. So let me move on before this turns into a different type of show. Do plan on having that show at some point on this channel. Because I'm even on my Twitter feed, like I pretty much for the most part had followed like leftists and Democrats like that. Looking at their tweets now through my new eyes, I'm like, why did I ever follow you? Why did I ever follow you? And you know what I think it might be, guys? I think it might be that we never had an issue that brought this out before. That was the problem. So it's kind of like, have any of you who've been married, maybe everything was fine in your marriage until one thing happened and it changed everything? So that one thing, I don't want to run down a list of things, but everything was fine in your marriage. Then this one thing happened and it so changed the dynamic that your marriage ended up breaking up. Essentially, that's what I feel like has happened. Like, we were married and, we had our rocky moments, but we had made it through. But this issue happened and it showed your true colors pretty much. And I had never really seen your true colors before. Now I do. And now I want a divorce. Okay. Now, I told y'all everyone lives going forward in the news break. Okay. 21 people survived a fiery plane crash near a Texas airport. Dang, I didn't do my on the plane intro. Oh, well. One flight attendant, 2 pilots, and 18 passengers escaped the crash without any major injuries. So thank God for that. Okay. Nearly 24 people have miraculously survived a fiery plane crash just outside of a privately owned airport in Texas without any major injuries. The incident occurred on Tuesday around 10 a.m. local time as a McDonnell Douglas MD-87 carrying 21 people was attempting to take off at the Houston Executive Airport, according to the FAA. The aircraft, which was bound for Boston, was rolling down the runway when it struck a fence and caught on fire. We're thankful that all of the passengers and crew members were able to extract themselves, and that's when the first responders came in to go to work to extinguish the fire. The plane never took off from the runway and came to a stop at a field north of the airport. It is unclear how people aboard the plane managed to escape, though Gibson described the group as stunned when first responders arrived. Yeah, I bet. Let's see here. Officials said 2 people were taken to the hospital, one with back pain, one with respiratory issues, but they were later released. And it says, this is a good day for all, not only for the passengers and crew, but this community and the first responders. Okay. So I bring you the story, one, just because it's a miracle these people survive. So that's good. But 2, because this has been happening a lot lately. With these little planes. So I'm just kind of documenting it now mentally. But y'all be careful on these little planes, man. All right. Be careful out here. Your best friend whose dad is a pilot, that's real cute and everything. But yeah, I agree, Erica. I'm not going to read it. Well, I'll read the first part out loud. It says something is distracting pilots. Yeah. And actually, no, I didn't bring that story over here. I read an article on my other channel the other day that said pilots unions are issuing guidance to pilots right now saying, please don't be in the cockpit talking about vaccines and vaccine mandates. And pilots are self-reporting being distracted by conversations about vaccines and vaccine mandates. And that guidance basically said, we really want you guys focused on flying. Please focus on flying. Focus on your flight checklist. We don't want y'all having conversations about these vaccines and the mandates in the cockpit. So it's getting that serious. And pilots are self-reporting this as a distraction in the air. So I guess that's something they do on a regular basis. Like, hey, is anything on your mind? Is anything distracting you? And they have to kind of report. And so apparently a lot of them are reporting that just the thought of the mandates, what could happen to their jobs. But then what they really don't want, are 2 pilots in the air debating over these mandates while they're flying the plane. That's not what you want, okay? So you really want them to kind of be getting along, because did you know that for the most part, and I don't know if every airline is like this, but did you know that for the most part, your pilot and co-pilot are probably flying together for the first time? Did you know that? So they don't fly together like a team. So your pilot and co-pilot, they meet up at the airport. They're like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? You ready? Yep, let's do it. And then they just go in the plane together and run down their flight checklist together and then take off. And then when they get to the next location, they part ways. So pilot A might go to another plane, pilot B goes to a different plane. And that might be the only time they ever meet and fly together ever in life. Did you know that, darling? So I think it's interesting because, basically it explains even more why they need not be arguing about these things in the air. Like it's hard to explain, because part of the reason they do it like that is because they don't want friends flying together. Because you know how you and your friends are. Like, even if you're very serious people, friends have a tendency to not hold each other accountable, really. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want your friend to feel bad. You don't want to make them feel bad. You don't want to create any bad blood between you. So you kind of overlook this, you overlook that. It is the cause of a lot of our problems, but it happens, right? So they really don't want buddies flying together like that. So it's typically always new. All right, y'all. For those of you who enjoy Mac and MacBooks and Apple products, Apple is finally bringing back ports, the scumbags. After all of these years, they are finally going to bring ports back to MacBooks. Blah, 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 blah. Da, 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 da. They love to tell stories. Blah, 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 blah. It says Apple's designers have clearly listened to the cries of the weary masses. Today's announcement brought a whole series of welcome redevelopments. Apple ditched the cumbersome touch bar and introduced a whole new series of ports for more connectivity than ever, all without an adapter. Oh, so they got rid of the adapter? How's it going to charge? The most amazing development is that you can now plug up to 4 displays into the MacBook. Y'all are scumbags. Those of you who followed earlier this year know that this was like a whole drama for me. I ordered a MacBook, got it, and realized that it can only support 1 monitor. So the new ones now support 4. But that's okay. I absolutely love my iMac. I can't tell y'all how much I love this computer. Wish I had done it sooner. Okay. But I'll eventually break down and get another MacBook. Blah, 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 blah. Great. So Apple is finally giving up this nonsense of dongles and dongle life and bringing ports back like reasonable human beings. Thank you, Apple. God, why did you take them away to begin with? It was so stupid. All right, we are rounding out the news break. I have 2 more stories to bring you. So I think I will start actually here. So something flew over Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana on Wednesday, right? And at first, people thought it was a meteor, but they have actually come out and said that it definitely was not a meteor. And now they think it was a Russian military satellite, you guys. Think. And it looks a whole lot like the thing that I saw the other night, that a whole bunch of people saw over Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. And they claimed that it was SpaceX making a re-entry. Let me tell you why I don't believe you guys when you say that. Because air traffic control is very, very particular about what is in the air. You can't just go flying whatever you want to through the air at any given moment. You kind of have to announce your intent. So the fact that there's not like memos going out saying, hey, at 8 p.m., SpaceX is making a re-entry. Please keep all planes at low flying altitude, or please ground all flights in this area while this thing comes back in. You see what I mean? It's always a surprise. Why is it always a surprise? Why aren't we notified of these things ahead of time? I don't want to be on an airplane while one of these things is making a re-entry. You know what I mean? Because they always splash down into the ocean. So let's take a look at what they saw in Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. Look at that. That's exactly what I saw, you guys. I promise you that's what it looked like.
No way. Yeah, it'll burn out here in a second. No way.
And it never burned out.
That star. Dude, that's not.
It pulsed just like that in the front.
It's burning out.
It left a tail just like that.
It's not red like a meteor, but it's bright like a star.
Like it was self-powered.
You track that yet or what? What claims that? It's coming down. I can't figure it out.
Okay, so that was that. And you see how it looks like it's coming up first? That's exactly what I saw as well. The thing that I saw came up first, then it went over. It came up, then went over. So they started publishing articles about this in the mainstream media. It says what NASA says about the fireball that streaked across the Michigan sky. NASA confirmed that the fireball that streaked across the Midwestern sky early Wednesday was a satellite. A satellite, a self-propelled satellite. Okay. At least one expert speculated that it was a failed Russian spy satellite. Okay. Let's see here. A Harvard astrophysicist said he is 100% confident it was, but doubts official confirmation of its origins will come. Okay. So that's what it looked like. And notice it's not falling down, it's going across. You see what I mean? When something is falling down from the sky, it tends to look like it's falling down, right? Not flying across the sky. There's a difference, you guys. And they are self-propelled, meaning they appear to have their own fuel source with them. They appear to be flying, basically. They're not falling, they're flying, these things. And we're starting to see them all the time. By the way, if any of you are trying to start a YouTube channel, I swear to you, you could start a YouTube channel just documenting these airborne events, all these meteors lately. There have been like 50 meteors they reported this year. All right, just saying. I'm not going to do it. I don't have the time. So someone can take that and run with it if you want to. And then here's one. It's behind a paywall. It says, update, The flying light above Racine last night might have been a crashing Russian satellite. And y'all are just okay with that? So if it is a Russian satellite, spy satellite, that's cool. Like, oh man, they were trying to spy on us, but it didn't work. Womp, womp, womp. Like, come on, guys. Come on, man. Come on. So y'all look up every now and then when you go outside. If you have a nice view of the sky, look up. Okay? Because there's lots of interesting little things happening. These stars sometimes, some of these stars that I can see, like they are going off. Like some nights I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like it is going, like some stars flash red, blue, green, yellow, white. And then they just cycle that red, blue, green. I'm like, are you trying to tell me something? What's up? Like you are going off. Like they'll be so flickering and so like flashy that they literally draw my attention. So I'll be looking somewhere else and I'll see something just like dancing in the sky. I'm like, what are you? Oh, it's a star. Well, what's up? You okay? Is everything cool? So the stars are going crazy. Like, and there is a star that lives near the moon, and they are always together no matter what. And I want to see if you guys can notice that. And maybe people already know that. But no matter what position the moon is in, its star is right there by it. It doesn't matter. All the time. It's like it lives near it. Like it's so strange to me because I'm like, if y'all were truly two independent celestial bodies, you shouldn't follow each other around like this. But the moon has a star that is always right nearby it. So you guys pay attention to that and see if you notice that little star that's always right there. Let's close the story on something interesting and weird and kind of cute and I don't know. The court rules that Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos are legally people. Okay? More than 80 hippos in Colombia are the first non-human creatures to be legally considered people by a U.S. court. More than 80 hippos, previously owned by Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar, have a unique distinction in U.S. law. They are the first non-human creatures to be legally considered people. The U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Ohio recognized the late Escobar's infamous cocaine hippos as legal persons for the first time in the United States. The ruling on October 15th came on the same day the Animal Legal Defense Fund filed an application on behalf of the hippo plaintiffs in Colombia intended to stop that country's government from killing them. I didn't read this far, so I didn't even know why this happened. The ALDF announced the decision in a news release Wednesday. The hippos are descendants of 4 illegally imported by Escobar. They were set free after his death in 1993. Since then, the hippos have increased their numbers to more than 80, and they are reportedly wreaking havoc on the local ecosystem. Why don't they just sterilize them? However, some scientists have argued that they may actually be restoring ecological functions lost for thousands of years due to human-driven extinctions. In July, Colombian attorney Luis Domingo Gomez Maldonado filed a lawsuit on behalf of the animals to save them from being killed, saying that sterilization was a better option. That is so sweet. And damn you people who your first instinct is always just to kill something. Oh, it's getting on your nerves, kill it. Don't relocate it, don't sterilize it, just kill it. Y'all always just trying to kill something. I have no respect for you. Although Colombia law gives non-human creatures legal standing to bring lawsuits to protect their interests, that country's legal system can't compel someone in the U.S. to produce documents supporting their case. However, a U.S. law allows interested persons in Colombia to go to a U.S. federal court to seek the ability to obtain documents and testimony. So the ALDF applied for the hippo's rights to compel 2 Ohio wildlife experts who studied non-surgical sterilization to provide testimony on behalf of the plaintiffs. By granting the application, the district court recognize animals as legal persons for the first time in U.S. history. Whoo-wee, this should be interesting. This should be interesting because I wonder how long it's going to take for other animals to be declared persons and for those persons to have more rights than actual persons. Pretty soon, a hippo is going to have more rights than you. Are y'all going to make them get jobs and pay taxes? It's obvious that animals actually do have legal rights. Let's see here. But a legal right is only as valuable as one's right to enforce that legal right. The legal system doesn't have a precedent for animals' interests directly appearing in court. There's no precedent for animals having a legal standing to enforce their own rights. Oh boy. I see where this is going. I see where this is going. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. I'm not going to read the rest of this, y'all. Oh, he's kind of cute. I heard hippos are one of the most dangerous animals on planet Earth. Like, if you come face to face in the water with a hippo, like, you might as well just go ahead and say your last rites and your prayers, honey, because I heard hippos are one of the most dangerous animals on planet Earth, okay? But they're super cute, though. We can never take that away. I'm very, very happy that the animals will be saved and spared. I do think maybe sterilization is a decent alternative, although some scientists say that they're restoring the ecosystem out there. How long do hippos live? When did Pablo, let's just answer questions here. When did Pablo Escobar die? He died in 1993. And then how long do hippos live? Oh, wow. Hippos live 40 to 50 years. So his little hippos outlived him and went on to create a little family, honey. They went on without him, and they just went on and thrived, and now they're safe and protected. It's almost like Pablo lived on, huh? To protect his hippos. I think that's kind of cute, actually. Anyway, you guys, this was fun. I enjoyed this news break. It's really, really good to see you all week after week. And that tells me that you're surviving and you're doing very well and you're staying healthy and ducking the COVIDs and such. For those of you whose jobs are threatened or have already lost your job or something like that, I stand with you. And I just personally believe that things will turn around here for us pretty soon. And hopefully in the future, when we're all very old, we can tell our grandkids that we fought back against tyranny and we crushed it, and tell our grandkids the story of how the federal government tried to jab us up. And we fought back and pushed back, and there was such a massive backlash that they backed down, just like they backed down on those bank accounts. They didn't back down, but they increased the dollar amount, but still, they changed their mind. So your voice is powerful. Your voice is valuable. Please use it in every way that you can. Now is not the time for fear, okay? Now is the time for great, great, great courage. And with that, you guys take care. We'll talk again very soon. And I'll probably I may not be back on till like Monday, y'all, actually. So if you don't hear from me this weekend, that's probably intentional, okay? So I'll talk to you again very soon. Take care. Bye.